Okay, so I was thinking about this, um, and I'm not sure how I like it because I have some issues. Marketplace guidelines, right? If you're a seller, you've had to deal with it. Uh, sometimes it does feel like that they're breaking their own rules. Um, like there are some unspoken rules that are not in the marketplace guidelines, but I'll touch more on that later. Uh, Obviously, the marketplace guidelines are supposed to show you exactly what formats you're supposed to submit stuff. All animations not rigged. Like you see, look, animations, we get all this detail here, right? In the Unreal Marketplace guidelines. And I feel like it should be safe to assume that everything that applies to the Unreal Marketplace will apply to FAB, especially when you're packaging in Unreal Engine products like messed that up. When you're packaging in Unreal Engine files. So this is where my problem comes in, right? We see all these rules here, right? Right. We even see the U plugin descriptors, which is not in the new one. File naming, stuff like that. But oh, by the way, file naming convention has to be consistent with its own project files. But here's the thing. Um, I remember being told, just like, this is they made up a rule, right? I mean, I use that system for all my files now, but still, they do kind of, hold on. Folder and file names must contain only English alphabet. Yeah, look, they don't specify it, right? So like they say that it must be consistent, right? But they want you to use epic standards. They want you to put T underscore M underscore SM underscore SKM underscore. And it's it's uh it's a frustrating back and forth that happens sometimes, right? Where like even now, well, at least this year, I had to do some changes to my own naming conventions because they said, no, that's not real. And it's like, what do you mean? That's not real. I've been using that for years. But yeah, so let's get to the real topic of the video. FAB's documentation, right? This is for the asset file format. Now, I have a bit of issue with this one because they don't really explain much. Like, like, oh, look, for 2D assets, I guess we have to assume that we have to package them the way that we do for the Unreal Marketplace. It's just grab a ton of PNGs or whatever and slap them into Unreal. And I guess the same for Unity. But then you go down to 3D models and you're able to submit FBX, GLBL, OBJ, USD, all that stuff. I mean, I guess that's because that's what the Sketchfab viewer is compatible with. But also, it's clear that they're putting more effort into the 3D asset section than the 2D. And that's always been an epic problem. Um, like, if you know Paper 2D, you know what I'm talking about. But animations barely have any clarifications either. Audio, and then you have to go all the way past all this to see actual file format requirements. So, file sizes need to be 15 gigabytes or less. If your file is larger than 15 gigabytes, the FAB team reviews the file to determine if the larger file sizes is necessary. I think in recent history I haven't gone over 2 gigabytes, and I've had some pretty substantial sized asset packs. So, oh look at that. Oh look, no. This is for the media gallery. It must be JPEG or PNG, just like the Unreal Marketplace. 1920 by 1080, just like then. And see, look, we get to see the file structure for the Unreal projects. But if you're packaging a Unity project, this is what they tell you. It's all the way in the bottom of the screen. Unity project format. If your product is a Unity project, then it must follow the technical guidelines in this section. And the technical guidelines in this section is go ask Unity. um, let's see. The project must meet all requirements in the Unity Asset Store submission guidelines. You know, I guess that's great if you're making Unity Asset Store stuff, and they link it right there, so it's only a click away. But I do think it's a little lazy that they're not telling you directly what they want from your projects. You know, the project must be published in a state on the Unity Asset Store, so it must be published on the Asset Store. That's interesting. So they're not trying to steal business, I guess, or at least they don't want to be accused of stealing anyone's business. I know I was already thinking that when I saw that they were integrating Unity into FAB. I was like, hold on, if if they're adding Unity to FAB, are they plotting something? But yeah, the project must be submitted for publication by the same publisher on the Unity Asset Store and FAB. So if you publish the asset, it must be you publishing on FAB. It cannot be your cousin or your friend or your buddy or some random guy on the internet. And hopefully they have a good way of determining that, because I know that asset piracy has been something that happens to me a lot over the past few years that I've been doing asset store work. So, and the Unity files you submit to FAB must be appropriately named host must be approximately named the Unity files that you submit to FAB must be approximately the same files hosted on the Unity Asset Store. So they have to be there has to be a lot of overlap with them. It can't be too different. Any required dependencies must be clearly stated in the product's description. If the product is dependent on the content not hosted on FAB, such as on GitHub, Google Drive, or Dropbox, then you must include links to this content on the product page. So that's all we got for Unity, and we're gonna go back up and show you some of my gripes that I got. So then we finally get the asset requirements for 2D assets. However, it seems like we are required to submit them through as Unity or Unreal asset projects. So that's a little frustrating. You know, we have to submit them as U assets, and we can't just upload some PNGs on it, which I feel like is a missed opportunity, because they could have easily submitted PNGs, and because like people have different ways of using them, right? And it's like my sister, she's a graphic designer and she sells vectorized files. Fab could have been another place to host these assets, but without importing them into an Unreal or Unity project, it seems like she won't be able to package them here. So that's a little interesting. But I do think they're being a little lazy with the 2D assets, even though if you look at because Fab, let's be honest, it's a product for Fortnite. They made this for UEFN. They can talk about like the free marketplace or something, where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna support creators. They made this for Fortnite, and something I see on a lot of Fortnite modes is that they have a lot of unique PNGs in their modes. My little cousin, he invites me to play him a lot, so I'm sure that if they just package something like PNGs and stuff that they can like adapt and change for their own projects, it would add a ton of value to this platform. It really would. 3D models. So it's kind of the same as um yeah, it's kind of the same as the Unreal Marketplace guidelines. Let's see, let's compare them. Where are the prop sections? Let's see, I think it's up here. And did I pass it? Quick meshes, audio. This isn't. Where'd it go? In the wrong place or something? So, this is. I clicked here. Anyway, look, I know that like when I submitted projects, the minimum for props was 10 assets, and let's see. Here we have a little more detail where it's at least 5 unique assets, and they finally acknowledge the unspoken rule, right? Because this is an unspoken rule that wasn't in the guidelines before. This is something they added now for FAB, which bothers me that now we have information like this. Because if you do low poly stuff, you might be required to increase the minimum amount of content. They state how much you need to increase it by in the prop section, but they don't state it in the characters section, which is the bulk of my asset packs. So here's the thing about that. It's really frustrating that they do that because they've made up these rules before, right? It feels like they make up the rules when it's not in the asset guidelines, right? And it makes it increasingly frustrating when they do this because it's like you submit a project the way you do always, right? And then they're like, no, this needs more stuff. It's like, okay, what more stuff? I did all the minimum content. I exceeded the minimum content. And it's like, no, it needs more. And it's like, oh, okay. I guess I'll just do whatever then. So you make like 5 extra animations. You include more material alternates. And then sometimes you're like forced to even make a whole other model for it. Like there's a package that I couldn't get published on the store because it was only one character and I had to publish it with 3 characters, which is insane. So they delayed my plans that month by a lot. So animations, we don't really get a ton of stuff, but you need at least 10 animations now. So that's fine, I guess. Audio tracks have changed, Now you only need at least 5 tracks. And there's no mention of any of it leading up to 10 to 20 minutes of music. I packaged a music pack once, but I never got it published because I never felt satisfied with how the music turned out. But you were back then you were required to package at least 20 minutes of music in total. So it's it looks like it might be easier now, unless that's now an unspoken rule, like the low poly stuff was before. And so I can see that being frustrating to some musical artists that might be looking to publish their work on another platform. So, that's interesting. Education tutorials, I've never really done any of that. Environments, game templates. Let's see. Smart assets. This is one that might get some people confused because if you migrated your content from the Unreal Marketplace, you might see that all your assets are labeled as smart assets. Let me see. Uh, all my Sketchfab models are here. Okay, see, look, all the Unreal Marketplace stuff I submitted. Oh, look, this came as a 3D model. That's interesting. But everything else is smart assets. Oh, look, this is 3D models. Okay, so it looks like they marked the props as 3D models. So it might be unclear now what they might be talking about because we have a character section. We have a character section up here, right? And all the asset packs that I submitted, most of them, all the ones we see here that are 3D characters have been marked as smart assets. So it makes you think, what do we look for when we're submitting our content? Right? Again, these drip and swag packs, they're marked as smart assets too, but they're mostly props. So what did that say about these props? I don't know. It makes it a bit confusing sometimes. So if you're new to making this type of content, you might be confused when you see, oh look, do you package through the assets or do you package smart assets? I don't know. So, oh look, an overview map is not required for smart assets. Yet, for all of these, I'm pretty sure they required smart assets. So, that's interesting. But, let me see. Do I have any other points I wanted to make across? Already talked about Unity, the smart assets, audio, characters, 2D assets. We mentioned the categories being a little messed up. So yeah, I think that's about it. But yeah. Let me know what you think if the changes are baloney or not. It feels like it might be a little baloney. But it's really interesting, kind of weird seeing all these changes happen. But I don't know. I'm starting to look forward to the launch because I don't know. I'd like to see how this performs, but also I don't like the idea of putting all my eggs in one basket because Sketchfab, Artstation, and the Unreal Marketplace are my three main stores. I mean, now I have the Patreon, which you can get almost 100 3D models and assets for free if you join. So, that's $5 a month. And you can download anything you want there. I'll put a link in the description. Hello. But yeah, it's I don't like the idea of putting all my eggs in one basket. So getting rid of the Sketchfab store and the Unreal Marketplace really frustrates me. Especially since you go to those two stores for different reasons. And now they expect you to come here. And I don't know. It feels like it's going to be like it's just an ad for Fortnite. It's a way to get more people to play, more people to create modes. And I don't know. I think that limits creativity in a way. And I don't know. That's about it. I'm gonna leave it there. We're already at 20 minutes, so I'm probably gonna edit this now because I'm a little nasally, and I'm gonna have to cut out all the sniffles. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye. It's just an ad for Fortnite. Fortnite.